What's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Hope you're all doing absolutely fine. And today, as usual, we're gonna continue with an essay by Seneca on the shortness of life. It's gonna be the 18th part of it, so let's get started. And so, my dearest Paulina, steer yourself away from the crowd, and to my storm tossed from the time you have lived, at length, withdrawn into a peaceful harbor. Think of how many waves you have encountered, how many storms, on the one hand, you have sustained in private life, how many, on the other, you have brought upon yourself in public life. Long enough has your virtue been displayed in laborious and unceasing prose. Try how it will behave in leisure. The greater part of your life, certainly the better part of it, has been given to the state. Take now some part of your time for yourself as well, and I do not summon you to slothful or idle inaction, or to drown all your native energy in slumbers and the pleasures that are dear to the crowd. That is not to rest. You will find far greater works than all those you have hitherto performed so energetically to occupy you in the midst of your release and retirement. You, I know, manage the accounts of the whole world as honestly as you would strangers, as carefully as you would your own, as conscientiously, conscientiously as you would the states. You win love in an office in which it is difficult to avoid hatred. But nevertheless, believe me, it is better to have knowledge of the ledger of one's own life than of the corn market. Recall that keen mind of yours, which is most competent to cope with the greatest subjects, from a service that is indeed honorable but hardly adapted to the happy life, and reflect that in all your training in the liberal studies, extending from your earliest years, you were not aiming at this, that it might be safe to entrust many thousand packs of corn to your charge. You gave hope of something greater and more lofty. There will be no lack of men of tested worth and painstaking industry, but plodding oxen are much more suited to carrying heavy loads than thoroughbred horses, and whoever hampers the fleetness of such high-born creatures with a heavy pack. Reflect, besides, how much worry you have in subjecting yourself to such a great burden. Your dealings are with the belly of man. A hungry people neither listens to reason, nor is appeased by justice, nor is bent by any entreaty. Very recently, within those few days after Gaius Caesar died, still grieving most deeply, if the dead have any feeling, because he knew that the Roman people were alive and had enough food left for, at any rate, 7 or 8 days, while he was building his bridges of boats and playing with the resources of the empire. We were threatened with the worst evil that can befall man even during a siege, the lack of provisions. His imitation of a madman, foreign, and misproud king was very nearly at the cost of cities, destruction, and famine, and the general revolution that follows famine. What then must have been the feeling of those who had charge of the corn market and had these stones, this word, fire, and a Caligula? By the greatest subterfuge, they concealed the great evil that lurked in the vitals of the state, with good reason, you may be sure. For certain maladies must be treated while the patient is kept in ignorance. knowledge of their disease has caused the death of many. Alright, guys, we're done with this part. And as usual, we're gonna continue tomorrow. So thank you for joining me today in this video. See you tomorrow. Bye.